listening to the Really Useful Podcast. This is the tech podcast for technophobes from makeuseof.com, and you have found our Black Friday 2022 special. My name is Christian Corley, and his name is Ben Stegner. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good. Ready to spend some money for Black Friday, I suppose. How about you?
Well, I'm from Yorkshire, so I know Scots are kind of famously tight, but it was kind of invented in Yorkshire. So if there is anything that I want to buy, I will and ah over it until the very last minute and then see if I can find it cheaper.
That's how I am too. I like this period because there are certain things, like when I get Christmas presents from my family and things like that, I just expect them to go on sale around this time, obviously. So it's nice to be like, oh yeah, I'm being savvy by waiting now and buying presents now. But then there's always that worry you could have gotten it for cheaper.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, this is just something I thought of randomly. Do those coupon code boxes on websites stress you out? And by that I mean, when you're checking out on a website and it's like, do you have a coupon code? And then I think, oh, I'll search Google, see if there's any good coupon codes. And then you find one of those sites, and of course, none of them ever work. It's like free shipping, that doesn't work, and 10% off, that doesn't work. And I always think, how long should I search to find a good coupon code? And then it just never works, and it just makes me feel like I'm losing a deal. I know that like Honey and those apps are supposed to help, but they're not always reliable either.
I've spent a few hours on that and thought at the end of it, I'm not going to do that again. So I tend to ignore them. Unless there's like a very specific, the website is displaying a code for me to use right there and then, I don't bother.
Yeah, some of that is true. Some of them just have up front like global percentage off, and it's just super easy. But most of the third-party ones, seems like people make them up, or they're only for use on a very specific item. It's just, yeah I agree. The time
or a very specific sort of set of circumstances, like you're under 40 and you're French and you happen to live in Hampstead in London.
And it's a Thursday and the weather is partly sunny. Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how it seems to be anyway. Black Friday 2022 is almost upon us. Now, this podcast is recorded on a Monday, usually. We publish on a Wednesday and, Wednesday/Thursday, depending on what platform you're using. So it's you're going to be listening to this in the middle of Black Friday, potentially. It is a time for deals, and it's a time for scams. And the people make deals and scammers make scams. And if you play your cards right, you can get the deals that you want and avoid the scams and grab some bargains in time for Christmas, maybe Christmas gift shopping. That's something you like to do, isn't it, Ben?
It is, yeah. Like I said, I like to grab my deals now and have my Christmas gifts for my family ready to go ahead of time, so I'm not scrambling at the last second. And also keeping an eye, using some of the tools we've talked about before to keep track of prices, to make sure that I'm actually getting a deal and not just something that I think is a deal. And, if I've been watching it for a few months, then I have an idea of the average price,
What, we have talked about these before, as you mentioned. I know there's one called Camel, which I believe is still
that's
going.
The main one I use. Yeah, I use it for Amazon. I think it might work for other services. I could be wrong. But yeah, that one's really nice because kind of on an ad hoc basis, you can just search for a product and see its history. You can also use it to give you an alert when the price goes below a certain point. So you can say, if it goes to X dollars, alert me, or you can say if it drops to, I'm pretty sure it has a logic that's like good deal, great deal, like a percentage off of its max price or whatever. So you can actually make an account and keep track of multiple products if you want to play the long game. But for something like Black Friday, it's really easy to just paste in a link and then see, oh, this was half the price 6 months ago, so this really isn't a deal, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's my favorite one, yeah.
That's a really, really good tool. I use Amazon a lot. I use Amazon too much, probably. It's, it's very useful having Amazon Prime and getting things delivered to you very quickly. But of course, it's no good for local businesses. So I do kind of try not to use it whenever possible. One thing I have found very easy to stop using is eBay. I don't know about you, Ben. I've in the past, eBay has been a place where I've gone, grabbed deals, felt that things went okay, but selling on eBay I found to be a really, really difficult experience over the past few years. So I'm kind of avoiding it. Apart from very niche electronics, I'm avoiding using eBay completely.
I'm the same way with eBay. I'm pretty on an as needed basis, I guess you would say. I'll check eBay if like, well, a good example for is how the Wii U and 3DS eShop is shutting down in March for the older Nintendo systems.
Yeah,
That's a good example where I think, okay, I want to get some of these games before you can't get them anymore, or before the price skyrockets. So eBay is a good place for stuff like that because you don't want to pay $300 on Amazon for a brand new copy of a 15-year-old game.
sure.
So you can find people's older copies, things like that. But
Yeah,
I don't know if I've talked with you about this before on the show, but I'm the same way with secondhand selling. I'm not a huge. I like the idea of it, obviously, but I'm not great at it. Like I built a new computer in February, and I've had my old desktop still sitting here because I don't know. I just worry about people trying to rip me off or the meeting up with somebody or whatever. So I always just kind of sit on stuff unless I know I have somebody that would be interested in buying it. I don't think I've ever sold anything to a random person on like eBay. I've used like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist once or twice, but eBay's I've never sold there.
yeah. I've used eBay. It does. I don't know if it's more scammy now or if people are just less honest now with things. It's difficult to say, but it's certainly something I want to avoid using as much as possible. And
Have you run into some of the specific scams that we talk about in some articles we have, like people trying
um,
to settle outside eBay type of stuff, or just like
oh well, yeah, that happened a very long time ago. We may
yeah,
have mentioned this on an earlier podcast some years ago. Basically, my wife and I were trying to sell a piece of jewelry to help fund our wedding. So it's a long time ago, and we found a buyer, but they wanted to buy the exchange funds outside of eBay. Now, at this point in time, I was a bit green around the gills when it comes to online security and scams and things. So we just went ahead and did it. They gave us a website. It was an escrow site, supposedly, and it highlighted that the money was there. So so the jewelry was sent away. The sale was closed in eBay, and never saw the jewelry again. Never saw the money.
oh,
Yeah,
that's terrible.
and a few weeks later, I'd clued myself up on everything. Had a look at the website. It was just a static website. No SSL, no database drive in the background or anything like that. It was such. I mean, hats off to them because they played a
Ripping people
blinder.
off with that basic of a scam, yeah.
Yeah. They played an absolute blinder on us. But that really, I mean, that was the moment that set the gears in motion. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm here now talking about this. To be honest with you, because it had a bit of an effect on me. Really took it personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people's stories come from that. I don't know if we talked about before Kit Boga, the Twitch streamer that does like scam baiting, where he has an elaborate setup to call the fake tech support scammers and like lead them
Yeah,
on for hours and hours, sometimes days. And I think he said the same thing that a member of his family got ripped off by one of those people, and that just like led him to want to waste their time and waste the scammers' time and educate people so that other people don't fall for it. So I think that's a good way spur you on, to do some good when you've dealt with something like that.
yeah. No, I think you're probably right. But I mean, more recently, in trying to sell things, like people have been claiming that things have been broken. Okay, send it back then. Oh, look, it's not broken. No, I just not what they were expecting. Well, I don't care if it's what you're expecting or not. I photographed the hell out of the thing. What
Yeah, it's
what
very
were you
frustrating
expecting to get? A cake?
where
It's
everybody's every like it's people aren't just like common sense. Like I don't know if that's the right term, but just like you don't, hey, I'm selling this. Okay, I'm interested. Here it is. Okay, great. Like that simple thing. It has to be like, well, it looked purple in the picture, but it's really blue, and like just people. Every little thing, if you don't document the entire process, someone's going to claim that it was broken or you tried to rip them off. It is
yeah.
very frustrating when you have to like anticipate people being jerks.
Yeah. And then the whole eBay sort of its complaints mechanism. Now I've used it as a buyer and as a seller, and it hasn't worked out for me in any scenario. So I just don't have faith in eBay as a marketplace. As I say, I have used it to get niche electronic stuff. And when I say niche, I mean, like, hold on a minute. Excuse the rolly wheels here. I have a thing here called a grease weasel, which allows me to read data from a 3.5-inch disc onto the USB on my computer.
Okay.
Something like that. I could order the parts and assemble it myself. I'd rather not do that. So there are like hardware enthusiasts will put these together for you and sell them on eBay. Not just these, it's like similar bits of kit, and that's the sort of thing that I'll buy on eBay now. Or cables, anything else, anything more complicated, I'm not really interested in.
Yeah, and almost too when you think. I mean, I think some people don't realize this. In a way, buying stuff on Amazon is sort of similar to eBay because, like, it's easy to get the impression that everything on Amazon is like sold by Amazon, the company, but that's not really
Oh yeah,
true. A lot
yeah,
of stuff is, but a lot of stuff, if it's shipped by and sold by someone else, it's really just Amazon being the intermediary, which is basically the same thing as using buy it now on eBay,
yeah,
except you might be buying from a company on Amazon instead of like just a single person on eBay. So there are more parallels than you'd think, I suppose.
yeah. Oh, there are plenty. There are plenty. So, if you are planning on getting your head in the game on Black Friday over the weekend, buying some deals, looking out for the deals, sign up to all the websites, get the newsletters, getting the alerts when the deals are going out, and not just Amazon, anywhere. There's a lot of things that can happen. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So, and we've talked about scams, and there are plenty of scams that we could talk about. We will link to them in the show notes. What you need to keep your eye on. We've recently just updated a guide with 7 scams to watch out for on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. You'll find a link to that in the show notes, because the important thing is to be aware of what the risks are before you start digging out those deals. And there will be a lot of deals. The majority of you listening will have an Amazon account, and you'll know that Black Friday is coming and that there are deals available on Amazon. And that might be all that you need, but there's deals all over the place in other places as well. Microsoft offers deals for CD keys, activating Office and Windows. They might not be directly from Microsoft today. There might have been old ones that have been sold at a previous time, and it's like someone's trying to bulk sell them off. But you can get CD keys to unlock copies of Office, Windows 10, Windows 11. They're all genuine licenses, and it would save a lot of money on going direct to the source. You might be after a VPN. All the VPN companies do a deal over Black Friday. If not all of them, then nearly all of them, certainly all the ones that you've heard of. And you can get some amazing discounts. For example, Surfshark are giving you 2 years for $53. That's 84% saving on that period if you're buying at the standard rate. And they're also throwing in 2 months free. So it's not 2 years as in 24 months. It's actually 2 years as in 26 months that you're getting for $53, which is insane.
Yeah, that's a pretty small price to pay up front, and then you got plenty of time to see if you use it enough. And
Exactly.
if you don't, then no harm done. You didn't pay that much for it for all that time.
Exactly. It really is insane, some of the things you can get. And maybe it makes you wonder how much they're actually really worth the rest of the time. But, again, that's a conversation for another show. There's a ton of other things you expect to find discounts on. Smart home stuff tends to go very low priced at this time of year. Robot vacuum cleaners, smart speakers, sound bars, all that sort of thing. I don't know what I'm really looking for, Ben, when it comes to Black Friday 2022. Are you going to be heading into the digital marketplace and buying something?
Yeah, so last month, when it was that fall Prime Day, there was something I had in mind for my dad for Christmas, which I got then because it was already on sale. I'm looking at that right now, and it's about the same price. I think I got it for a little bit cheaper then, so definitely benefited from that. Um, yeah, otherwise, I actually did. I've been thinking about getting some AirPods for a bit, kind of going back and forth on it, and they just launched the AirPods Pro 2 just launched like last month or 2 months ago, and they were already $50 off for Prime Day, so or for Black Friday. So I decided to grab those yesterday. They'll be here tomorrow, I think.
Hmm.
Other than that, yeah, nothing too specific. I mean, I'm good on my keyboard and mouse and things. I think last year I bought an M2 SSD last year, which I put in my computer build that I did earlier this year, but
Yeah.
don't really need any storage right now. I got a micro SD card for my Switch last month as well during Prime Day Part 2. So yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm thinking about a new monitor, but probably not worth it right now. Anything specific
Hmm.
for you?
You just mentioned an M2. I'm wondering whether to get. I mean, I would like to, but then I'm not sure if I haven't really benefited properly from the micro SD card I bought for my Steam Deck. So expanding the internal storage of the 256 gigabytes to 512 or beyond seems attractive, but at the moment I don't really think I'd benefit from it. So maybe I won't do that. So I'm not really sure. I think we're kind of done with Christmas shopping this year, so which doesn't usually happen so early. So I don't really know. I feel like if I do, I'm just spending money that I don't need to spend.
Yeah, I do the same thing where it's like, because I like a good example is that M.2 drive I got last year where it's like, I don't need this right now, but I think I might need it shortly in the future, either just to expand my PC storage, or in that case, I knew I was going to probably build a new desktop this year. So it's like, do I get it now when I don't really need it, but it's deeply discounted, or do I just wait until I want to build my computer and just pay whatever the price is at that point? Like,
Yeah.
that's something I go back and forth on depending on what it is.
I think if I was able to say get something that I was after for a bit of a discount, like the upcoming Evercade EXP, for instance, if that was less than the usual price, or some of the bit of retro gaming gear maybe that's on offer that I haven't been able to get hold of, then maybe I might be tempted, but I think I'm probably going to keep my hand in my pocket. Uh,
There's also certain things from other like third party, or not third party, but just like non outside of Amazon. We've been talking about like Fan Gamer is a site that I like that has a lot of like cool gaming merch that's like more unique than what you'd find at like a normal store that just has like generic T-shirts and stuff. So I like the stuff they have, and it's the sort of thing where when I'm in the mood to order from them, I want to like do it all at once and save
yeah,
on the shipping, that kind of thing. So if they have a deal for Black Friday, then uh, that's when I would order from them most likely too. And sometimes they'll do. I don't. I'm sure other retailers do this too, but they did a thing. It might have been in the summer. I can't remember, but it was like a. It was two parts. One of them was they were selling things that were slightly damaged, like things that they couldn't normally sell because it had a loose thread or a very minor defects. Where if you could buy them like knowing that they were slightly damaged, and then they would give you like points, and then the more you bought during the event, you could redeem them for like a free whatever. So that was a fun, it's a fun way to like get rid of that old inventory and also like incentivize people to spend a little bit more kind of thing.
yeah. Well, big finish. What am I talking about? Black Friday is a big deal. Whatever you're doing, really. Um, so it might be a good idea, actually, like me, to. I really do think I am going to just sit it out. Now, if that is the case, then you might. I mean, I've got plenty of things I can be doing to occupy my mind that isn't shopping. I quite like not shopping, actually. Not shopping is one of my favorite pastimes, is not shopping. Maybe things won't work out as well for you. Maybe you've got the whole Black Friday bug in your mind and you've been realistic. You know how much money you've got. You know how much money you want to spend. You don't want to spend anything. And yet you've got Black Friday, Black Friday, Black Friday chomping at your earlobe. What do? We've got this beautiful collection of 13 of the happiest sites on the web that can help you to pick up your mood, relieve any stress, and just focus away from someone else's business needs. Because that's essentially what shopping is. it's good to help local businesses, and money going into local economy is a good thing. It's less of a good thing when you're sending money electronically to some faceless Jeff Bezos or his cohorts, and just move away from it. Do something more relaxing. End that whole trap of buying stuff that you probably don't need, and find an interesting website just to distract you and relax you. There's one called 100,000 Stars, which is a visual interactive website that catalogues the known stars in our stellar neighbourhood, which you can click on individual stars in to see how they appear up close. There's another one called Looking for Something, which is just a soothing background screen. There's Recommend Me a Book, which will recommend you a book. And there's my favourite, Rainy Mood. Looking for an easy-to-use website that will immediately calm you down? Well, visit Rainy Mood. You just press the play button in the centre, and then you'll hear soothing rain sounds and distant thunderstorms playing in a loop while you rest, relax, or focus on whatever else it is that you're doing. Make sure it's not Black Friday shopping. Then there is a lot of this about, isn't there? Just Black Friday, Black Friday, Black Friday. It's laid on really thick. It becomes an absolute, people's absolute reason for being on Black Friday is to buy stuff on Black Friday.
I think it is because it's sort of that Christmas or holiday season kickoff. I think that people just get stressed out about it. I mean, all the stuff we talked about earlier, like the positives, like I said, of having something in mind for a gift and then knowing it's probably going to go on sale, and then it does, and then, okay, now I have to buy it. That whole thing, like, that's good, but it also can be stressful. So I think it's kind of fun to look with these websites. When you were reading them, I was thinking, like we talked about earlier with like the old days of the internet, it's kind of fun to find these like more unique, specific websites that are just fun to browse, and they're not like aimed at making money or shopping or news and depressing stuff like that, whatever. This is totally unrelated, but I found that the subreddit Internet is Beautiful, which I haven't really visited before, but I came across it for something I was doing in an article, and it just catalogs like cool, like one-off websites that people find that just do one thing kind of like this. And I found this site, neal.fun, neal.fun, and it has maybe a dozen or 24 just little pages on the site. And the one I did was called Absurd Trolley Problem. So you're probably familiar with the trolley problem of, if a trolley is about to hit 5 people, you can pull the lever and have it hit 3 people instead. Would you do that? That kind of thing. It's like a logic ethics problem. So it takes that and then just adds a bunch of absurd layers on top of it, just that are more amusing. There's a bunch of different stuff on the site. There's a page where you vote like on contentious things, like do you put both your socks on and then your shoes, or do you put one sock and one shoe on, that kind of thing. So I like seeing the little things like that are on there, and just little fun site to visit for 5 minutes. Nothing super crazy, just kind of has that old fun internet feel to it.
Yeah, that's a very silly website, but and it is diverting, and it would remove, I think, a kind of a shopping mindset from most of us. Anyway, now normally at this stage we'll go on to the recommendations, and we will in a moment. But I just want to briefly summarise our take on Black Friday: is prepare, make sure you know what you're going to be buying, avoid scams, refer to our links for scams, take the time to look for deals. Buy from reputable sellers, and don't give more information than you need to. And also, just one other thing, make sure that the shipping is actually suits your requirements, because it's very easy to find a deal and then find that you're not actually going to get the product until next summer.
For next Black Friday.
Yeah, just in time for next Black Friday. So it is recommendations time now. Ben and myself have both got things to recommend. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So my recommendation this week, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have recommended that Neo.fun site because that was kind of fun, but I got to mention it anyway, so I get 2 recommendations, I guess. So my recommendation is an app. It's called GG. The website is ggapp.io, but the logo is just GG with like a pipe symbol. And what it is a gaming tracker to track your backlog and games that you want to play and things like that. If you remember a few months ago, I recommended the site How Long to Beat, which also has this functionality. That site is aimed at, you can look up a game and see how long it will take you to play through, which also has the feature of being able to log in, track the games you want to play, and see how long they'll take. But I looked at a couple of them because recently I've had a note in my Simple Note app of the games I want to play next, and it's been just kind of messy and it's not very graceful. So I finally took the time to look across a few different apps for this purpose, and I liked GG.io the best. So basically, you sign up for a free account, and then you search for games, and then you can add them to your collection. So your collection is, I think, want to play, playing, finished, completed, or abandoned. Just so the status that you have of the game, so you know what you're doing with it. And then you can also create custom lists, so you could do like upcoming games or highest priority list or my top 10 games ever or whatever. And you can edit those as you see fit. And it's a lot nicer than using a note in your phone because you can search for them and they come up and match. You can rate games and you see the art is all nice and pretty. And you can have those custom lists. Like I said, you can join friends as well if that's something that interests you. So if you play a lot of games and you want to keep track of what you're playing, what you want to play, what your favorite games you played this year, anything like that, I would definitely check out gg.io. It's free to use the basic features. There's a subscription you can join for a few extras, but so far I've been okay with the basics for the most part. So yeah, if you're like me, you'll probably appreciate this.
Okay. What's it called again?
It's ggapp.io is the website, but it's the like name is just GG with a little pipe symbol after it. GG
Okay.
meaning good game,
Cool.
I assume.
Yeah. Okay, my recommendation is a thing that I'm using right now. And it's probably the sort of thing that you will get on Black Friday. It is basically a Wi-Fi smart plug. And I got it at a bargain price of £10. It's a Link2 Home Wi-Fi smart plug, and I've been meaning to get one for a long time. I did have one a while ago, but it was kind of linked into sort of a kid's STEM development kit, and also it had a US plug on it, which was no good to me. I have a heater in my office, and I like it to be warm when I get into the office. The timer that I had previously was absolutely rubbish. It didn't keep time, so that was no good. So got rid of that. I was thinking, I've got to get a Wi-Fi one. And eventually I found this one. And it works so simply. It has a companion app, and it is the Link2 Home companion app. And it just really works. It simply works. And I can set a schedule on it. It will come on at 6:45 in the morning. It will go off at 9:45. The office is heated enough in that time, and it just does what you want it to do. And this is a great thing, as we were saying before about Black Friday. You will find a lot of smart home tech in Black Friday. I don't know why, you just always do, invariably. And something like this can absolutely change your life and just make things a lot easier. And it's also the type of smart home thing which really, it's just a plug that goes on and off over the network. So it's not like it's recording anything sinister about you. There's no microphones on it or anything like that. You don't need to be concerned about that. And there maybe is a hacking concern to it, but the setup was pretty secure. So I think it's probably all right on that as well.
It's kind of like the timers, like the light timers of yesteryear, just modernized.
Yeah.
I have years ago for the site, I did a review of like a 5-pack of smart home starter products from Monoprice, and one of them was a smart plug, which I still have, but I honestly really haven't used. I haven't really found a particular use for it that really works well for me. I like the idea of it, but I don't know. I feel like my feeling has always been like smart home stuff is something you kind of have to go like all in on to get a lot of value out of, and just having like one plug, I just didn't see the use in. But maybe I'll have to reevaluate knowing that it worked that well for you, because that is handy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my case, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not that keen on. I mean, the security system in the office is kind of smart home-ish, although we have integration issues. I've got a RoboVax. I'm a big believer in RoboVax. I think they're the greatest labor-saving device developed since the dishwasher. I think they're absolutely fantastic. So we have a RoboVac, and that's connected to an app on the phone, and that's also integrated with Google Home. That's generally where it ends. I'm not big on the integration of stuff because I don't really want things to be integrated. I find that's possible. There's this. It feels slightly sinister to me to have everything integrated. You know, like there's a bit of a danger. There's a red flag over it. There's danger alarms going off in my head when I think about linking all these things up. Maybe it's not such a good idea to have everything linked to one control hub, which, you know, I didn't build it. I didn't develop it. I wouldn't be able to. Just leave things not integrated. That way, it just everything's simpler.
Yeah, I think there's value in it on the surface, but there's definitely a lot of drawbacks of, you know, especially, I mean, most people have go with a big name, but if you don't, I mean, I've read stories of people's smart home products just like going offline. Like, you know, you sign up for a subscription and buy all these products, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're done, by the way.
Yeah.
There was I don't know if it's still around, but there was a Twitter account called Internet of SHIT that was it was basically retweeting and pointing to news stories of just like either smart home products crapping out or like just stuff that was so ridiculous, you know, like a smart toilet to measure the pH in your urine. It's just like ridiculous. Like, why does this have to be smart, kind of thing? And I remember at one time it retweeted a thread of people who were locked out of their houses because they used a smart lock from some brand that got attacked or something happened to where people just like couldn't unlock their door because there was a problem with the company, and it was like everybody was tweeting about it. Like, that kind of stuff is just
smart locks are a big no-no for me. Absolutely no way. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the show. This has been our Black Friday special, in which we've talked about Black Friday stuff, things that have happened to us, things that you should be aware of when it comes to preparing for Black Friday, buying on Black Friday, and maybe just getting your head and taking it away from Black Friday. If the whole Black Friday thing's doing you nut in, and you know, I've said those magic words about 6 times in the past 30 seconds, and they're doing my head in. So do check out those happy website links. Ben and I will be back next time. Until then, it's goodbye.